It says the stream is live. It's come up.
Is it come up late? Yeah, it's come up live, yeah?
Yeah, stream is live.
It hasn't come up my end.
Oh, it's you. You're dodgy.
Whatever you're live to.
Hi, everybody. Anybody see us out there? Just let us know, please. Put it in the chat. I hope you're all right. And if you joined us last week, hope you got over the Valence House event because it was quite eventful, wasn't it, Paul?
It was good. It was a great night, mate. It was a great first one back for me.
Yeah.
It went really quick, though.
Didn't it? All sessions.
There was just new things I wanted to do that we was talking to Russ about, and it wasn't until I was driving home I was a bit like, oh no, I didn't do anything.
Yeah, but no, mate, it was certainly eventful. And funny enough, all three groups are eventful, which, you know, you usually get one that, especially the one.
See, so I don't always see that because I stick with the same group.
Yeah.
So I obviously where you're filming, I try and get all the team members in rather than the, you know.
Evening, Lee. So we are live, Paul, because Lee's on.
I ain't got nothing up on my end. Oh, hang on. There we go.
Got over it, Lee? Quite an eventful event, wasn't it? If that's the way to put it.
Hello, everybody, boys and girls.
Oh, right. Let's go domino, shall we?
Yeah, ready.
As a duly designated representative of the city, I order you to cease any and all supernatural activity and return forthwith to your place of origin or to the nearest convenient parallel dimension.
Whoa. Just hold up 1 minute there. It's not who you're going to call, but it's who you're going to listen to. And if you ain't afraid of no ghosts, stay tuned for the EGH Paranormal Talk Show. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the EGH Paranormal Talk Show live and exclusive on Pulse Talk Radio. And I don't think my microphone is working somehow, and I don't quite know why. Yeah, it's always going to be a preference setting, isn't it? Let's have a look. Microphone. Oh, you know why? It's on mute. It's on mute. Hello, everybody on Pulse Talk Radio. We are here. I'm here. You heard the opening trends, but I had my microphone on mute, so I do apologise for everyone living over on Pulse Talk Radio. Thank you for the lovely Philip Solomon that has taken us through the last hour over on Pulse Talk Radio. It was lovely to hear your voice again, Philip. Welcome. If you are listening to the show and you've stayed over from Philip's show, welcome. And if you hadn't heard us before, welcome. But welcome everybody to the EGH Paranormal Talk Show / Journey Through the Unexplained Show. A bit of both, a bit of everything. I suppose I should. What I can do is what I should be doing, really, shouldn't I? I should be putting, was it? I don't know, something up in somewhere. I don't know. I can't. I don't think I can change it. No, I can't have both. Why can't I have both on the screen? That annoys me. Yes, I can. Yeah. There you go. Look at that. Yeah, perfect. That works, doesn't it? That works. So, welcome everybody. Welcome one and all to the show. We're settled. So, welcome as my wonderful co-hosts, Mr. Paranormal Paul and Mr. Simon Cardy. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hi, mate. All right.
All good. I didn't quite know if it was going to make it or not, to be fair. It was touch and go. It was touch and go. Are we live? That's the main thing. Are we seeing everything live?
Lee commented, but that's the only comment I've seen at the moment is Lee.
Yeah.
I did ask him a question, but he didn't come back, so I don't know if he hearing us, but
Oh, it might be because I've got the comments. Evening, everybody. I've just shared it, so hopefully we get some. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Sorry, I'm all over the place because I've only just literally about half hour walked in through the door. So, quick change, a quick drink, and go from there. I'm going to ask a question. How's your week been, Mr. Paranormal Paul?
Busy, my man. Busy. Extremely busy.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing or a?
Yeah, but it's the weather's turning nice, and the last thing you want to do is be running around 100 miles an hour, sweating. But it is what it is. Pays the bills. So.
Well, it's all changed for the weekend, and it bank holiday, and it all changes, doesn't it?
yeah,
Don't say that.
It
Don't
does.
say that. I've got a lot planned.
I reckon even wintry showers on Monday.
Oh, do
Oh
me a
my
favour.
God, how crazy! How crazy is it? We can't go from 30 degrees of heat.
Are you
to,
gonna? You're gonna.
To that. It's crazy. It's crazy. But while we're on weather, just I know this is a crossover show, but we are going to talk about obviously our event and all that. But can I just get your two opinions on this Spain/Portugal power outage that they blamed on? I can't say the atmospheric
Conditions.
phenomena.
Yeah, I
With
think
that
it's a load
being,
of
sorry, if that's been the case, then we would have had it because we've been on both Lisbon and somewhere else this week.
I just don't see how this could happen. This is a typical film scenario when they put out that, what do they call it? That sort of, what's the bomb that takes everything off air?
EMP.
That's it.
Yeah.
Your thoughts, Paul? So I just want to get your thoughts on it more than anything.
I think it's a load of old tosh, mate. With the Unexplained show, I think we've been saying since the get-go that power cuts are coming, and they're all planned. The fact that they're trying to blame solar flares and whatnot, and this and that, and the weather conditions. I mean, you hear a couple of the experts, and they're like, "But it's been quite mild compared to what the areas are used to," and it was the whole. It was a massive area. So I think it's a planned
two
thing.
countries, Spain and Portugal,
And more. I think it went a bit further into parts of France as well, or something, if I remember rightly. But
I think it's crazy. I just don't get
They are quite close, aren't they? They are quite close because we nearly drove there, didn't we? Come on.
yeah, we did.
Yeah, but you look at the size of Spain compared to the size of our country.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that there's. I know it's called the national grid, but it's sectioned in parts. If one bit goes down, it doesn't mean the whole lot goes down. Something just smells too wrong for my liking. I think it was a little tester.
We live in the 20, we're in the the 20th century. This sort of stuff shouldn't happen.
No.
These power that took, and I had friends that were over there, and it took everything. It knocked everything off, from internet to payment systems to that,
And it's funny, people started trying to scrounge together their cash when they want to go cashless society everywhere, and then something like that happens, just proves.
You just think of the infrastructure that hit, because it was, there was a lot of tourist areas that got hit. You think of people that could have been having either like breakfast, lunch in these restaurants. How are you going to take payment if a lot of people are going to rely on their card or on their phones? You've got everything going down. People are generally not, what's the word? Got cash on them. It's not a thing, is it? At the moment in time, it's not a thing, and it's not the customer's fault, and it's not the restaurant's fault. But what do you do in that situation? You can't pay it. it's crazy
Well, I
to
suppose
think
it's gonna
what
be-
that could have done.
It's going to be the honesty of the people to go back, isn't it? When the system's back up, I suppose.
Yeah.
They can
Yeah,
sort of pay the bill and
I
go
get it.
and pay it.
I get it, but it's still, if they're
Yeah.
doing that on purpose, what the infrastructure of that could have done to their country for that 2 hours, you think of people at tills in like supermarkets, they're just going to have to leave their stuff and go. It's just crazy. It's just crazy to think. But that's for another week. We'll talk about that more next week, Paul. All right, we'll hit that a little bit harder next week because obviously this is a lighter show, but it's just bugged me. I've got loads to talk about. I've got questions that need answering. So, right, let's start off this Saturday. The Saturday just gone, we was at the wonderful Valence House. And I don't know about you two, but this venue goes under the radar, doesn't it? This does.
Oh, God,
Yeah.
Out of all the venues that we do, this doesn't get, what's the word, the credit or the, we've been
Recognition.
to Mallet, we've been to 30 East Drive, we've been to, Shrewsbury Prison. This matches them in activity and what you can pull there matches them.
It does. Yeah, I agree.
And
In fact, more so because I said to Paul before we sort of went live, I've usually struggle in a group somewhere along the line across the evening. One, it sort of goes flat. It don't go flat in there. 3 groups from start to finish. Bang, 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 bang.
I sort of totally agree. I sort of have to sort of agree with you on that one, Simon. It's just the way you sort of delve into it and have to sort of go for it more than anything. Paul, I know you did a bit of videoing throughout the night, so you sort of saw all the different team leaders work, so to speak, at some point.
Yeah.
And what was the activity sort of throughout the night with team leaders' side of things, to be fair?
Do you know what? I think the group I followed, I think they were mainly like sort of family, close friends. And I recognised a young lad who'd been on one before. I think it was Kelvin and Hatch. He coached.
Yeah.
And so I recognised him straight away. I said, I recognise you. You've been on one before. And but I believe that they're all sort of working on to be mediums and, getting in touch with spirit, because they were very in touch with spirit throughout the night. And out of all the events we've done, I think that group, from the second we started, was because you was in the first, you was with me the first one outside, weren't you?
That's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah, but and I'm like, it's the group sort of separated, and they're getting something, and they're getting something, and I've got the camera, and I'm like, do I follow them, or do I go that way, or do what side do I try and get the best bit here? So
do you know what I think? A lot of it is. A lot of it is that blooming idol. I swear it's got something to do with it. Do you know that? Because everybody goes in and looks at that idol, and then it all starts happening. All starts happening around it. And I don't particularly like the idol. I don't.
No, it's a weird looking thing, isn't it?
Yeah. That'd be
But
horrible.
I have to say, I have. I never actually got to the idol. I never actually got anywhere to the Dagenham idol at all when it was there. I didn't get to. Unfortunately, I never got to investigate that area because of obviously what went on in the last group. I had to sort of double down and obviously be with that group towards the end. So we are talking about something there that is carbon dated older than Stonehenge.
Yeah.
So, does anyone know the history of that? Did anyone look? I never read the.
I never read it up, but it's apparently it was found in the actual marshes. They found it in the marshes, and it's something to do with fertility. It's some sort of sexual thing. By
What,
all
the-
accounts.
So when we're talking, was it what were the marshes? What, Dagenham marshes or Rainham marshes?
Rainham, I think.
Rainham Marshes, I think.
Yeah, I think it
But
was.
why is it called the Dagenham Idol then?
There might have been Dagenham Marshes. I don't know.
Well, it might, you look at the area, it probably wasn't all divided up the way it is now. back
No,
then.
no. I'm just going to have a look to see what was it. It was called the
It is called the
Dagenham
Dagenham Idol, yeah.
Yeah. Idol. That's it. Let's have a look. The Dagenham Idol is a wooden statue of a naked human figure found in Dagenham, Essex, England in 1922. The statue has been carbon dated to around 2050 BC during the late Neolithic period or early Bronze Age, making it one of the oldest human representations found in England. The statue is made of Scotch pine and stands 18 inches high. It has 2 legs but no arms, hips, buttocks, narrowing to the waist and broadening to the shoulders and around the head. There are straight markings across both legs, hole in the pubic region that can be indicated as female, but with an insertion of phallic peg, now lost, would indicate male. There appears to be damage on the left eye, while there is not a direct link or damage similar to Odin's sacrifice of the Eye of Millions Wall in return of wisdom in Norse myth. One-eyed Odin can noted as possible successor to the wooden figure, ambiguous sex and odd left eye, if no more. The statue was found in marshlands on the north bank of the River Thames to the east of London, south of Ripple Road in Dagenham, during an excavation of sewage pipes in 1922. Now on the site of Ford Dagenham, it was buried in layers of peat about 3 meters deep, 9.8 foot below ground level, near the skeleton of a deer. The statue may have been buried with the deer as a violet facility sacrifice. The original statue is owned by Colchester Castle Museum, with a copy in the Museum of London. The original went on indefinite loan to Valence House Museum in 2010.
Yeah, see, I think that's got a lot to do with that place, you know.
Well, it's got history. That
Yeah.
draws history something rotten to it.
Yeah, it's got an energy. And a lot of people, well, I don't like looking at it, and a lot of people didn't like looking at it, and they moved away. If you look at it, they do move away from that statue.
But I remember maybe the second time we went there, third time, second time, that I know Paul and Scotty, I don't know if you were guests or you was helping out at the time. I didn't know if you were members, but remember you was in that and you all sat down on the floor in that room.
Yes, I do. That I believe was when we was part of the team. The first time I went, I was paying guest, and that's when we see that face sight, up in the corner.
Yeah, and that's when the piano went off as well. I don't know if you were there when the piano went off and when the woman knocked on the door because she was scared. The woman who sat outside.
Yeah, rings a bell.
Yeah.
That was when Paul and Scott were in that room. Yeah. I think we had Steph there as well in that room.
Yes.
And it drained everyone's energy in that room. And everyone was hearing footsteps, weren't they?
Yeah. And
the woman outside
moving around us, but I'm pretty sure there was children there as well, if I remember right.
But did the door open? Yes. There's a cupboard door there, wasn't there? I'm sure the second time you went there, Paul, Scotty said the door began to open on that.
Do you know what? I was having this discussion the other day, and I'm like, I can't. Sometimes the things that happen, I can't remember where exactly it happened.
I think it was there.
I remember things happening, but I'm like, was that there? Was that there? And I'm
Good evening, guys. I don't know. Is that Swaddling Coat Paranormal Investigations? Am I saying that correct?
Yeah.
Good evening. Welcome along, guys. Nice to meet you. Well, not meet you, but see you. Thank you for joining. If that makes sense. Matt Neal's looking forward to Wisbech Castle, which beats Castle. And the Christian, we was waiting for a comment like this. I have a venue for you. My house definitely has ghosts. Definitely my bedroom. Can you come and check it out? With a devil-looking face. How did I knew that one was coming somewhere along the line? But no, I have to sort of agree. But then there's also, you know, you go further down into that. We've got remains of a tomb of Roman remains in there around that corner. We've got all that, you know, you've got the
mirror.
old.
We had a really good session in a mirror. That mirror was unbelievable. And we had EMFs going off.
But what happened in the mirror? Sorry, mate, because we wasn't privy to that. So.
One of the ladies in the first group, the one that you're talking about, Paul, she was not. It wasn't scrying, but you could see her face changing. You could see things happening in the mirror, and we didn't move from that mirror basically for the whole session. Apart from
it freaked some of the group out, didn't it? For what you was actually seeing. Yeah. So I had to keep trying to cover my screen on the camera because obviously it gives off quite a bit of light. And I'm seeing it a lot clearer than everyone else. Everyone's saying, I can see this, I can see that. So I'm then having to sort of look without the cameras and see what everyone else is seeing. Because when I'm looking at the camera, obviously it's not picking that up. Although the one thing the camera did pick up, I don't know if you come over and looked at it, Si, her eyes, the only way I can describe it is that program Supernatural when a demon takes over someone. They were pure black.
Yes.
And this is a night vision camera, you know, and they were pure black eyes. She looked very demonic.
Yes, she did.
But that happened, didn't it? That happened at, we've got the video, the opening segment of our videos, when Pauline had that happen at Jack the Ripper Museum.
Yeah, Pauline,
Paul was really close to running. He was by that door zooming in.
All I was waiting for was for her to just look at me. If she looked at me, that was it. I was out of there.
So Matt is commented. He's part of the team. Si, he was with you. The attic at Valent House caused me issues. Si kept asking if I was okay, but I knew I wasn't. But I could only say yes, I was fine.
Yeah, he did. The attic there, it was doing something because we had Tony in there. And I think you radioed up to say, or somebody, you've got to get Tony out of there. Well,
yeah.
Matt was sitting facing me. I had my back to whatever it was. I don't know what was coming, but it was coming. And I kept saying, Matt, you all right? Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, I'm fine. But he's saying, yeah, I was fine. I knew he wasn't fine.
But you obviously picked up that he wasn't fine. That's why he kept asking.
Yeah.
But whatever it was there was making him say, yes, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm reading between the lines here.
Yeah. And I think it cleared everybody out of there in the end. I think there was me, Lee, and possibly Matt, the only ones left in there. Yeah, I'm sure it was. We were the only ones left, and I think I was last to leave the room. But yeah, it's really a weird place. And I find it keeps you, when you go to a place, I think you stop in a place for that place. I don't think you move about. Well, I only did 3 areas. I did 3 rooms. Yeah. I literally did 3 rooms. I didn't do anywhere else.
The only thing I found to be quiet there this time round, where I didn't before, was the basement. The little bit of time we spent in the basement. So when I was with the group, it was very quiet. And when we all come into the big opening as you come down the stairs, I walked into the tunnel right into the back by myself. Because I remember last time I'd done that, it felt like there was someone standing next to me. And I wanted to see if I'll get the same thing, but I got nothing. Like, it was completely, I didn't feel anything. Whereas I remember last time, even walking out of the tunnel, it felt like it was following me. You know, when you're like, oh, the old pace quickens a little bit.
It happens in every room with you, Paul. So
the cellar bit. Well, I had two people. I had Claire and Danny, both trancing, and they were both fighting each other. It was really good. I had Phil going as a human pendulum down there. Probably had the best one of the best sessions in there. Really, but not the same as last time. Not the same as when we saw that face. It's a different atmosphere. There's something different.
Yeah.
But it is it's really a very strange location.
Yeah.
And it does. I don't, I just don't. It goes very much under the radar. But there's loads of. You think you don't get to see half it, but you've got whale bones in there. You've got whale bones in there. You've got all them paintings in there. Now we had a really good séance in the whale bone area, where the whale bone is. We had a great séance, but that was coinciding with you being in the attic.
Right.
So when we radioed through to you, that is what we was getting, and via what we was getting answers through the séance telling you to get people out, they're in danger, or be aware.
Didn't have enough protection, wasn't it?
That was it, yeah.
Yeah.
Which you were sort of already on that line of, obviously Tony being sort of overseen, so to speak. But the basement was red hot anyway, wasn't it? It was sweltering in that the attic. I was dripping.
No, it's fine.
Sweat. I was dripping. Absolutely dripping with sweat. That first session, I literally walked in there within like 10 minutes. I had my hat off. I think I would have been down to my underpants if I had a choice. It was so hot.
We don't want to scare the ghosts away, though, Russ. All right.
Huh?
We don't want to scare the ghosts away.
No,
mate.
no, we don't. We don't. I can't turn my phone on silent. It's going to keep going off. Heidi has said, "Good evening, guys. Good evening, Heidi. Hope you're doing well." Basement was a great session. Thought Claire was going to jump H.
Yeah, they were battling as well.
Yeah, but that's normal for Claire. Was that Phil's Claire?
Yes.
Yeah.
But we also had Danny. We also had Danny in trance as well.
That was good.
And this spirit was saying to the spirit that Claire had was saying to the spirit that Danny had, "You're not getting out." It was really, really.
But we had that in the loft, in the attic.
Yeah, you see, I think
we had
that place
that same sort of scenario. You're not getting out. You're not allowed to leave here.
Yeah.
Yeah. But a lot of people, I did the basement twice. Did it first session, last session. And
the attic, you mean?
Yeah, sorry, attic. Now I don't really say anything between sessions to anybody. But everyone was picking up on the same sort of things happening in the same locations, which tells me that there was literally something going on that we was all witnessing or all a part of. And a lot of things were like imp-fied figures in the attic, very tiny, creaturey sort of things that were running around.
Yeah, so much so that they said they hadn't walked on the earth plane.
Yeah,
at one point.
Yeah. We've got some questions coming in. So, Sandra, team member Sandra, the theatre room at the top of the cellar was very strange for our group. We were all in the room
felt divided. Yeah,
felt divided. I know that they had board, and I believe something went on with the board there as well. Sandra was uneasy on the board or something along them lines, or didn't like what was on the board and shut it down, or couldn't get the board to work. But
I think that's what I got from it. The board didn't seem to work, or no one really got the board all night, did they?
Yeah,
I didn't even try the board. I didn't even get to try the board. Do you know that?
Well, I didn't even go in the room.
No.
yeah, but we moved the board. Andy moved the board. Andy even tried the board in, you know, where the toy bit was upstairs, far end, the modern bit. Tried it on there, and it just would not play ball. It just would not have it. Sandra's would wanting to hit me with the chair and throw me down the stairs.
Yeah, but that's normal though. It's nothing to do.
We got not getting out of the theatre.
Yeah.
We're not getting out of the theatre room. Sorry, Lee. Trying to split the groups was a thing of the night.
Yeah, agree, Matt. Yeah.
I have to agree.
Yeah.
I have to agree. The only thing that I wished I did was that group that I had second. We was in the WoW room, which I think that you had first, Simon.
Yes.
The group, and obviously we give you the message to blah blah blah. Now we were getting a message like it was about the protection, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The message, you're not protected. So I said, well, let's go up there then. I'll take my group up there. You know, I'll radio through to Simon. Let's try something. We'll all go up into that room. And they said, no, we'll wait. On hindsight,
Should have done it.
Should have done it, because I don't think it was them saying no. I believe it was Spirit saying no.
Well, yeah, but don't forget, again, the group was divided because there was a couple of members in that group that was like, after everything that went on, they were like, I ain't going in that attic.
Yes.
The young,
Yeah.
Oh, you was with me in that second group, Paul, wasn't you?
Yeah.
And you heard what I was saying, didn't you?
What annoyed me is because you said to me, do you want to join the seance? And I thought, yeah, why not? So I put my camera down and I joined the seance. I wish I'd never done that to some point, because when I got back to the camera, and bearing in mind, new battery, fully charged, it went out. And when I tried to quickly, I'll be honest with you, I've been so busy. Look, it's still here. I haven't had a chance to go through it yet, but that's my weekend job, because I want to know how much of that session I caught. Because when I tried to check in on that night, it looked like it cut out the second we started the seance, which is weird.
Well, there was a lot of information given within that seance.
A lot
of information.
And I'll be gutted if I haven't got that.
Yeah, but I think it's done it for a reason. Danielle, welcome to the show, Danielle. The attic had a lot going on right from the off. Well, to be fair, Danielle, you actually nailed it. You linked into what I linked into, that, because you stepped to, once again, that attic, the long attic room. Yeah, there's two parts, isn't it? The long attic room. That was just a cut right down the middle. You could go one side and it'd be something different, and another side the other end, right? And it had issues, right? With whatever was going on there, it had issues. But what we were getting in that first group, now, I don't quite know what you would say it was, but it was a religious feel, but not a religious feel. It was potentially some form of cult thing going on up there with religious things. People went there on their own accord and didn't do nice things. And I don't know if there was some form of, I'm not saying it happened in the attic area, but it almost feels like something was not summons, because I think that's too much of a deep word, but don't know if some form of ritual had gone on there.
We got that sort of thing in the cellar as well. That there was, yeah.
It had the same feel throughout the night.
Yeah.
My voice recorder kept turning off and running out of battery. Did it last 2 batteries over the night?
There's 2 batteries, bloody hell. And
So
that takes nothing as well, really, doesn't it? The voice recorder.
And Matt's voice
recorder.
Can't think of the word.
Recorder.
No, not recorder. The one that gives the words out.
Voice box.
Yeah, it was giving so clear messages down in the cellar. In the cellar, it was actually answering our questions, very, very much so. Like we'd ask it something, and it would come back to us as like a logical conversation.
Yeah. I will put no one read out the next comment because we will probably hit an algorithm that it doesn't like. But Sandra has linked potential that to the basement area of some form of cult or ritual sort of thing. All right. I won't say it, but because I think that will hit an algorithm that Facebook will not like. And that'll be like a journey thing rather than anything else.
Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Yeah. But I do get that. I do get that sort of. I don't think I can link it to that particular cult, but definitely
we did get like a cunning woman. Do you remember in the first group, Paul? It was like a warlock.
Warlord. Yeah. Warlord. She didn't say warlock though, did she? She was saying warlord.
Yeah, but it wasn't. It was warlock, wasn't it? Warlock.
Yeah.
But did anybody get many names there?
Yeah, I got a couple of names.
Yeah, I got a few, but not as many as I usually get.
That was a weird name that we had in that first one, though, Si, wasn't it? I can't even remember what it was now.
Yeah,
that the lady was picking up on in the mirror.
Yeah, and he was looking for somebody, wasn't
he? That's the name. It was a woman.
Susanna. He was looking for Susanna.
Was it Susanna?
Susanna.
I don't know who the bloke was, but
yes, and the other group got the same names, which I thought was brilliant confirmation.
Yeah.
So that was what I'm saying. The whole, as much as I don't know what that means, but we got told to listen on it. Was that talking about your voice thing, Simon?
Yeah. It kept telling us to listen. Yeah. But it was like having a good conversation with us. Timothy, that's it. Timothy Lucy. Well done, mate. Well done. It is Timothy Lucy. He's named Timothy Lucy.
Did anyone check that out?
No, not at the time. His surname was Lucy because I kept getting Lucy, but it was Timothy Lucy, and it was 1500s. It was a 1500s.
How are you spelling the second name?
It's either Lucie or
Lucie.
Yeah. But he was looking for Susanna. It was definitely Susanna, and that's, I think, the bloke in the mirror. Well done, Matt.
Yeah. When we went in the basement, was the basement part of the first investigation? Did we make it down there, or was that the first part of the second investigation? Sorry, when we went out the first time around, did we end up in the basement?
What, in our first room?
Yeah, or did we just stay in that room? We stayed in that room.
Yeah.
So it was the second investigation where I was with Mike, and he had that thing on the device that tells you, things it's picking up.
Yeah.
And that was throwing out some weird things. I can't remember who else was in our group now, team leader wise.
It was you, Matt.
No, that was Matt was with Simon. Who was
Yeah.
Mike with?
Yeah.
Me.
Oh, right. No, yes,
me.
because you had to make a phone call first of all. When we first went in there, I'm sure that was it. You joined us.
Hold on a minute. Just hold on a minute. I think I found something. Hold on. I'll go away for a minute. Where did I just see that? Where's all that gone then? Oh, for fuck's sake. I'm just going to read that. Susanna Fanshawe married Timothy Lucy of Clarecourt Wars, who was living at Valence in 1594.
Wow.
That was it. And he was looking for Susanna. But she was outside. And he couldn't go outside. But we were getting her in the mirror. I'm sure she was coming in the mirror.
Yeah, it was. The lease of the house found its way into the hands of the Fanshawe family, whose portraits fill one of the rooms of the museum. Unfortunately, Henry Fanshawe died while his daughter Susanna, 1567 to 1610, was still a baby, leaving the lease of the house to her, which she would again upon married in 1583. Susanna married Timothy Lucy of Charcote Park, Warwickshire, and moved into Valence House until they sold the lease in 1596 to Sir Nicholas Coote. During the time, they had 8 children.
So that could have been the children, because that's the first thing we hit was the children.
Yeah.
During the redevelopment of the museum in 2008, a 16th century wall painting behind a false wall was discovered. It had been dated to the time of Susanna Lucy, who lived at the manor, and is believed to be one of the many panels that would have once decorated the entire room. The painting depicts a grotesque-like creature with red hair carrying a basket of fruits to the attic area surrounded by legs. Suggested the prisoner or a slave. Whilst the dating of the painting suggests it may have been commissioned by Timothy Lucy, dating centuries out, the difficult task, some experts suggest that it may have been produced for the reasons of a subject matter. Traditionally, satyrs represent lust or boar-like creatures.
How big are they?
Huh?
How big are they? How big are these creatures?
That's gone green screen.
How weird. I tell you what, I'm glad we've got a private event there in July. Kelly's going to have a great time.
Well, that'd be interesting if they pick up similar sort of things as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Susanna Lucy and Timothy sold the lease to Valence House in 1596, from which point.
But have you not noticed, right, how a lot of these places that we visit have links to places that we've visited miles away?
Yeah, because there was always a link. We kept finding a link between Valence and Charlton House, didn't we? I'm sure we did. But
then we've got a link now. This Timothy lived at Warwick Castle.
Oh, yeah.
And we can go through these things, and there's a lot of links through these. Go back in the day, money stayed with money, didn't it?
Still does now, doesn't it?
Yeah, but you know what? Because obviously it would have been more sort of what do you call it? Where there's definitely more of a class
Yeah.
regime back then, I suppose there wouldn't be too many high-end estates.
Hmm.
So I suppose they would mingle. You know, we've got quite a different class within our society now. You know, we can have commoners mixing with sort of.
Whereas they all stuck together, didn't they? So I suppose they would venture out and visit each other in different places and introduce families to marry.
And you know, not to say it was sort of, but the children of, you know, to keep that lineage going, you'd almost feel that they were around. You know what I'm like? Oh, you can marry my daughter.
Hmm.
So to keep the money in that circle, so to speak.
Yeah.
But it's weird that they've drawn pictures of these goblin-like creature, like
exactly that, mate. Exactly that really sort of makes sense, because what is he actually looking for? It makes more sense now. I wish I knew that before I got in there, but I don't.
See, I'm looking forward to going through the footage now, because the pictures on the wall that were still there, I know they didn't have that one there, but that are there. I remember looking at every picture with the camera, because I want to find out if there's anyone there that looked like, because do you remember that one point in the mirror on that first session site, it looked like she was getting a beard.
Yes.
And it was like a straight beard that come down like that.
But were you not there when we went through at the back of there where the mirror was, there was a back stairs where the light kept coming on if you went out there?
Yes.
That's a picture that she saw that picture.
That's
Albert?
No, that's Thomas.
Thomas or Timothy?
Timothy. That's Timothy Lucy.
Right.
With his beard that you just said.
See? Oh, Timothy.
I like it.
Coming back in July, Timothy.
Bring some of your goblins.
Yeah, but I think they're in the attic. I think that's
That's what the little imp things were.
Yeah. Makes a little bit of sense now.
It was a very, very interesting night.
Yes.
Let's just say the least.
It's more interesting now, the fact that
actually it is. Now you're getting this.
You put a bit of clarification to it, like, you know.
But then, is this not what is good for this show? You know, moving forward, this now ties into how we can, you know, we obviously know what we do need is we need a scryer in each group to make sure we get names written down, dates written down. Then at least we can then tally back to what we've been talking about, which we've just done live on air. You know, Timothy and Suzanne Lucy. You know, we've just nailed it because obviously Matt looked as well during when I looked, and we both all come up. We didn't get any footage though, did we? You weren't in the attic with me though, Paul, was you?
No, not when you first went up.
No, I didn't have my phone on me. We had literally in the attic area. We took the stick man up there. You know, what we call stick man, whatever you want to call it. And every time that Phil did something, it went out to try and like Phil went. I said, Phil, put your hand out, see if it would shake your hand, and the image went to touch Phil's hand.
Oh,
right. You can see it bending out to like on their hand. I can send you my notes from my group. That'd be good if you could email them over. I think it was Mike.
What filmed it?
Sorry. Can't be Timothy. He was 1600s. So I'm lost there. Can't be a picture of Timothy as the was 1600s.
That picture you showed, I suppose. Was it a picture or was it a portrait?
I think it was like a sketch. And now I've got to go through the pictures again, whether it's gone.
Timothy was in the 1500s. He was 15. I don't know. Like,
Was it?
Yeah, I can't find it. Sorry, I've taken it off me thing. Taking it off my screen, so I have to delve deep again into it, and I'll see if I can find it without. But no, I do think it was a really deep night and very interesting.
Mm.
And as Paul just said, it's more interesting.
breaking it down.
Yeah. Leading on to that, okay, I say we've got questions that need answering, and this is what Lee sent me a question after the night. Obviously, it's something that's obviously played on his mind more than anything. Let me just get me phone up because it was on here. All right. So I'll read it word for word because I couldn't. I generally. Hold on. Let me just finish off. We had a great session in the cellar with a few people having experiences.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. Yeah, that was probably right up there. Good session. It was a fantastic session.
Right. Are you ready?
Go.
Yeah.
I'm going to read it word for word because I don't want to miss anything out, just in case. All right. Russ, I have a question that you may or may not be able to answer. Do tattoos offer the same protection as an object? For example, people wear St. Christopher. So if you had a tattoo, would it offer the same protection effect, or is it void because it has to be a physical object?
I would say it would work the same, because only the reason I'm saying that is when people do Reiki and things like that, don't you scribe the symbols on the skin?
Yeah.
So providing it's got that,
I think
personally, that's what I'm believing. I think the tattoo would work the same.
I think the tattoo would be better because you couldn't lose it.
It's permanent, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
You look
know.
like you're disagreeing. I don't know.
I generally don't know, because how would that physically, how would that physically work? I get it with intention. I generally get it. There's my St. Christopher. I wear my St. Christopher all the time. That's my protection. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, say if I had that tattooed on an area, does it have to be where it should sit?
No.
I don't know.
I think a tattoo is probably as good, if not better, protection because you can't lose it. That could be ripped off your neck, like mine could. You can't rip a tattoo.
But doesn't it also come down to the material of what your protection is made of as well? Gold's purity, isn't it? If you've got your crystals as well and things like that.
I would say tattoos are protection, but I think you should put your intentions into it whilst it's being inked.
Oh, blimey, don't add an extra bit to it, Mrs. A. Come on.
I just don't know. I think if I generally don't know. I generally cannot say it would work. I don't know.
I think it would because your intentions. If you go in and have a tattoo done of, I don't know, let's say St. Christopher, yeah, on your chest there, yeah, where the EGA sign is, and you have it there, and your intentions is for that to protect you, then I think it's going to work.
Yeah,
because
then it's like when
wearing that, isn't it?
No, and I'm going back to sort of like watching films as well. I know that with some people that are obsessed with protection, writing on the wall, on the doorways, on thresholds. Well, writing's the same as tattooing, surely, is providing you can see it and it's there.
Yeah. I mean, you do that thing on the floor. That's right, isn't it?
But take it a step further. You know, we're talking about St. Christopher. Yeah. Let's take it, you know, let's talk about a more high-powered protection than St. Christopher. You could be using a cross.
Yeah.
Okay? Which I think you've got round your neck, Simon. Have you got a cross round your neck?
I've got both. I've got St. Christopher and a cross.
Right. So that becomes also a physical form of symbolization. With a cross, in the work that we should do, you would then use that as a physical form of you can use the cross as you can't, I'm here. If that cross is not there, I don't see how that would protect you, because you can't physically, obviously you can physically show it, but you can't physically use it. You can't physically pull that cross from your chest to use, because you need to show, if you're going, for all intents and purposes, if you want to go toe to toe with something that isn't nice, then when I do my work, when it's something nice, my St. Christopher never stays underneath my t-shirt. My St. Christopher will always come on show. It will naturally come on show, because I can then use that as a form of deterrent. Now, St. Christopher is a patron saint of travel.
Yeah.
So you use that in plane journeys, but nothing to say you can't use it against you. That's not what I'm saying. But all intents and purposes, Christopher is the patron saint of travel.
Yeah.
So that's more on the side of erring side, driving to venues, coming home from venues. If we've got anything, St. Christopher would guide me and protect me. If we're talking about, we'd be using probably something like Raphael, Michelangelo, if you want heightened protection with tattoos or anything like that. I just don't know if I could 100% trust a tattoo to be my protection, knowing that I couldn't get to it if I needed it. I'm not becoming Superman in the middle of an investigation and going, "Hey there you go, I warn you off." I'm just don't see it happening. I think it's more, and for me, I think it needs to be a physical item to hold energy, to hold that. No different to the haunted dolls that you have. It holds energy. You're using that object to hold energy.
But then, so if you've got a protection tattoo, it wouldn't work for you because you don't believe it's going to work.
No, I don't. But that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it won't work, but I don't see how physically I could use that.
Yeah, but you wouldn't. You probably wouldn't go to physically use that, because you would probably still have a cross around your neck or carrying a cross when you did your sort of work.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But then I would always just stick with my cross. I'd always stick with that. I don't see how a tattoo would. Don't get me wrong.
But perhaps we're looking. I don't know. Perhaps we're looking a bit too deep.
But also,
I'm not deep enough. But
and I know you do. Sometimes you don't want as much protection. You can't take that tattoo off.
You can cover it up.
It's still on you. If you put your intention in it while you're having it done, and you know it's there, and you've got that for the reason of protection, like you just said, you can't physically energy. Well, that is energy because it's there because you put your energy into it to put it there for protection.
Yeah, but I haven't had nothing to do with the ink. I have had nothing to do with that ink.
What do you mean?
So this here, my St. Christopher, it's in my hand.
Oh, yeah.
Nervous. It rubs, my energy's into it. I can put energy into that. I have nothing to put into that ink.
Right, sorry, yeah, with you.
I don't think, you know, and let's be fair, if I went up to a tattooist and said, mate, give me 20 minutes with your ink before I put it in, do you know what I mean? I just want to make sure that I'm covered from any demons that come forward. I just, you know, that's how I would want to do it. Just as you say, to put my energy into that ink, but then I'd want my energy to go into the tool that is putting it in there. It's no different to holy water. That's what you're using. You're using a physical something as a holy water to throw that physically at you, to that demon or that energy to push back. What do you physically have apart from protecting? I suppose the only thing that I would say is it's protecting yourself and yourself only.
Yeah, but there may be people that want that.
Yeah, I'm not saying. I'm not,
but what I'm saying to you is, people that probably would use a tattoo like that will probably not go and do what we do.
No.
I think a lot of it does come down to like you was going there, Russ. It's it's your energy and your frequency. You know, when you're saying like with holy water, yeah, it's been blessed, and sometimes when they do this with a holy water, it doesn't work. But when you've got everything in you and you're believing that this is going to work, it's going to work, because as you're throwing it, that vibration's going out of you, your energy, and I think it works the same with anything. It's working because you believe it's working.
Yeah.
If you believe something, that's the frequency that's coming out.
I say I'm not poo-pooing it. I don't. If you know, I do believe in I do believe if you put your intention pure into it, you think it's going to work. You're going to think that you're protected by using this tattoo to protect you. Then that's your intention, and I don't think I can sit there and argue that. But for me, as a personal opinion, I don't quite know I would like it. A little bit, but as you said, with, you know, going back to this one, you don't want too much protection. Simon said, well, you'd cover it up. It's always covered because you're going to have your top on. So then does that not eliminate what it's there for?
Yeah, but
why would you have it in the first place?
I think there'd be probably a different reason for somebody to get a tattoo done for protection than what we would be using for protection. If you get what I mean. I can't really explain it because it's a really hard thing to explain, but perhaps that person is not going out there to hunt ghosts, but perhaps they just want comfort of having that tattoo. And so they will always want that much protection. They need that as protection. They're not going to do what we do.
But then that's
so they would never take that off, and they would never want to cover it.
Yeah, but then that's more of a sort of, what would you call that? More of a sentimental tattoo.
Yeah, a meaningful to them tattoo. That they believe in, that they wouldn't probably go and hunt ghosts at all, but that means they're protected. Yeah, I get that. I do get that. But I don't think it would do a paranormal investigator any good. No.
So, all intents and purposes, then, if it wouldn't do us any good, why would it do anyone else any good? Just as a question.
Their belief and their intention. Their intention is that they're never going to go and hunt ghosts.
No, they believe it's protecting them. So, in their eyes, it's protecting them. So, it shouldn't matter if they're going paranormal investigating or not. If their belief and intentions in it, surely, I mean, we're all speculating. None of us know, but this is where I think it all comes down to that. If yes, it's not just your belief and intention. It's with anything you use. It's not the object itself. It's what you're putting through that object, through yourself, your vibration, your frequency, your energy.
So I put it another way then. I get it. Okay. Not to say I'm contradicting myself. I know I've got comments coming in, but like I said, okay, I can't use it as a physical form. That's not quite true, is it? So if I had that on the palm of my hand, so if I had a cross put on the palm of my hand, so if I had it put on the back of my hand, then that becomes a physical form. Stop. So a contradiction to myself, and maybe placement is more of the question for me than where it would be. I don't know if I could quite, well, to be fair, I could have St. Michael. See, I'm a bit anal when it comes to like that. If I have one tattoo with a cross, I'd have to have another tattoo of something else because I'd need balance. I can't be unbalanced. I have to have one tattoo this side, another tattoo that side. So that would, my ADHD would actually kick in something rotten on that motion. But I think yes, I think it would work with the power of intention. I think you'd have to be quite wary of what you're using it for, as Simon would say. And I'd be saying placement is quite key. If you're going to use it as a paranormal investigation, then I'd have to have it on my hand to show force where it wants, on, you know, on a finger, on a wherever, to show force of what that is. I get that. But I just don't quite know. Obviously, St. Christopher, I think, would work absolutely fine for patron's sake of travel. All day long, put it anywhere. Because it doesn't really set foot with our Michael, Raphael, all of them. Yeah, you're good. Where different. I don't know if that actually helps your question, Lee, to be fair. Let's have a look. Let's see what's coming.
More
if you had
confused
a
now.
tattoo of something. Sorry?
I said he's probably more confused now than before he asked the question.
If you had a tattoo of something physical, would one counter out the other? No.
If you had a tattoo of something physical, would one count?
So say if I had this, and then this tattooed around my neck on a chain there, would one counteract the other? No. I would still be backing this all day long. It's a personal protection, then a group. Mine is a Gaelic cross with my kids' names on it. I think that tattoos are very personal, and if someone takes comfort in protection, then so be it. Just my opinion. I would not have a protection tattoo. No, it'd have to be something I'd want. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know if I've got Michelangelo on there or Raphael. That's a good tattoo, but I don't think I'd probably do that as anything about protection.
No.
To be honest, I think it's just a good tattoo. So,
great conversation. Good to hear other people's views. I don't know if you've answered your question, but hopefully not. Right. I'm going to just tell a little story, okay? And it is going to be...
Getting close to bedtime, kids.
It's going to be... It's going to be more... It's not going to be as... not bad, but it's going to be less... I can't tell you who and where I got this information from, okay? But a military man, okay, worked for government and MOD in the 50s, okay? Very, very high-ranking officer. I had the pleasure of speaking to him today, and I spoke to him for a good hour and an hour and a half, okay? And we got talking about what I did with ghost hunting side of things. And we got talking about one location in particular. Kelvedon Hatch nuclear
Mhm.
bunker,
Oh my God, yeah.
right? And this is why I can't tell you his name or what he was, but he can confirm to me that there is another 5 floors below what we see.
Knew it.
And this is the kicker. You can travel from Downing Street to the bunker via car underground.
Wow.
I knew it.
And there is a blast door every 20 meters from Downing Street to that tunnel. Now, my question to you is, you've been there at night, Simon. Paul, you've been there at night. You've slept there. We've heard banging doors.
Yes.
We've heard noises that you can't explain.
Yes.
Is that now human? Because you hear footsteps quite clearly in that place. Have they just come in through the wrong door and shut a door? And I'm not taking away that we've had non-paranormal activity, because that place gives us some things that you can't explain. But I was jaw dropped. My boss, who was sitting next to me at the time, was like, holy shit, are you really saying what? And he said this to him, are you really telling us what you're telling us? He went, yeah. He said, as long as you don't give my name out or anything, he said, I'm fine to tell you. He said, I've seen it.
Oh, lucky. See, that winds me up. I didn't know it goes 5 floors below. I knew it went deeper than what we see. I personally believe there's another floor underneath where we get to.
Yeah.
Before it gets to the rest of it. Do you know what I mean? So, but damn. No, Russ, I don't believe that is them moving about. And I'll tell you especially the walking and the footsteps. I remember, and I can't remember what room. It was the first time we went. In fact, it was probably the scariest time I went, because it's the only time I've ever nearly bailed. And I was a paying guest when I stayed overnight. It was only me and Scotty and the team. But the footsteps we heard were coming from above us. I can't remember what room we was in.
But it's what I'm saying is, how do we not know they're walking to that floor and just walk through the place? As you said, Simon's been there. He said, I was too scared to go and have a look, which pretty much a lot of people would be. If you're hearing a door closing, you're going to shit yourself. I'm always sound asleep.
I've never slept there. I haven't. I've actually, I've laid there to sleep there, but I've never been to sleep there.
No, I think I'm with you. So
I've never been to sleep there.
I think that max I managed to get about 15-minute cat nap.
No, I don't think I've ever done that.
I think I slept with one eye open that night.
I can sleep. I can sleep through it.
I know. I heard you.
Agreed. It's always saying go down, but can't see the link back to London. It wasn't one of the main bunkers for the PM.
How did you know?
I say I'm only going on.
This
gentleman is, he's in his 80s now. Do you know what I mean?
So I went to school with a fella that since doing the journey show, we were very good mates at school. And obviously you drift away, don't you? You haven't heard. Anyway, he reached out to me about a year and a half ago. Yeah. And he just started saying, I've been seeing what you've been doing and a few things I post and this and that, Anyway, we got talking and we phoned each other, got chatting. We're both on the same wavelength of a lot of things, especially the corruption side of things as well. Anyway, it turns out that what he does for a living, he lives down in Dorset now, but he comes up to London and that's where he works. He drills underground, making tunnels, and he's been doing that for a very long time. And you would not believe, he said, and that's all he's been doing all these years.
Do you know what? Something's just clicked with me.
Go for it.
Back in the 80s, I worked for BT till 1993, from 79. Yeah. And I worked in Fleet Building in Farringdon Street. And on a Friday, the bar and the snooker rooms and the games room were all downstairs. And back in the day, it was piss off early. It was you didn't work Friday afternoons. You went
Poet
down.
day.
Poet's Day.
Yeah. And you went down to the bar and you played snooker and you played everything that was down there. And I'm walking back one day, there was this guy and he said, you'll never see it and it will never be open to you. But he said, one day I will open it and you can just have a quick look. And he did. And it was miles and miles of tunnels. And then tunnels went right out to one side of London, to Brentwood, places like that. And they're still there. And it was sealed off by the biggest fucking metal door you'd ever see.
I still think there's tunnels going from England to America, mate. I'm telling you. And they can get there in record time.
I think
I'm talking big tunnels. I'm not talking...
Yeah. Well, you're talking about a car driving from...
yes, yeah. The tunnels I saw, yeah.
Kelvedon, Brentwood. That's got to be a big tunnel. And it's like me and my boss was speaking after, we was like, that's unbelievable. And the more you sit there and think about it, it's like, well, you look at pictures of where the nuclear, they reckon it's just directly under Westminster now and things like that. Why would they do that? Because that's just going to be the PM's gone directly underground and, down below where he lit, like Westminster. Well, that's just glutton for punishment, isn't it? Because they're just going to send torpedo after torpedo, rocket after rocket, till it just pounds Westminster. So in my eyes, it's like they've got to get him out of London. And it wouldn't be above ground, would it?
No.
And it's not going to be in the London area. It's going to be Essex, Kent, Hertfordshire.
Oh, he said they went always. He said they went miles. They went always, not just.
Well, you think of the London Underground, how deep they are, some of them tunnels.
Yeah.
I know that there's other stations and stations that were closed down that still got shops full of things, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know people that have seen them. Sorry?
Do you think Mike knows? The bloke at Kelvin?
Don't know. I'm assuming yes.
Yeah. He would have had to have signed something.
Yeah.
Because that bottom room, you can even see that there's something underneath. Yeah, because it's got that metal gridded floor in it. That what do you call it?
But I think your entrances are somewhere in that boiler room bit at the back.
All day long.
You know where the stairs are?
Yeah.
And you've got because you can't see round that corner where all them generators are, can you?
Mm. Yeah, it's all roped off. And that goes down into that room.
No one's going to even attempt to jump down there and have a look around.
And that's what I'm talking about. That part there, it's got that metal floor.
But then my question is it still in use? Is it still in use? And that could be the owner's kicker. You know what I mean? That, don't say anything. If anything goes on, you've got your family into there straight away. Shut up. Don't say anything. You're protected. For the rest of his life, the owner of that estate is protected. His family are protected from any nuclear threat to the UK, in theory, if he knows. That's what the deal would be, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I'm saying. Is it in use? Is that in use? Why not open it up? Why not? You know, you haven't got to show us the car tunnel. No one's got to show you that. But
no one had to show us the bunker itself.
Yeah.
I suppose that's their. Well, we've give you that much. We ain't going to let all that. We ain't going to tip the whole hand now, are we?
Yeah, exactly. You're never allowed by the house at the end. There could be a totally separate entrance to it.
Yeah. Yes.
You know what? We might not have, but that's what I'm saying. Oh, you know, when we're hearing door closes and people walking about, are we generally hearing people down in that?
No, because if that's underneath you, the
but
noises
all
I've heard then have been on the same
what I'm
floor.
saying is someone could walk through that place to get to their tunnel or come out.
No, because that first night we was there, do you know what?
No one would go towards it.
Because the thought of that is freaking me out. Because that first night we was there, we was in that. You know when you go down the stairs and excuse me, you've got that little communication area. You've got the phones through there, the computers through there.
Yeah.
Little rooms. Well, that one in front of you, it's a tiny little room. You shut the door, and I remember me, Scotty, Lauren was there that night, and we was looking under the slight little bit of light going under the door, and we could see the shadow of someone walking past.
But that's what I'm saying. It could be generally someone, and I'm not saying we could look. I'm not sitting here and saying everything that we've ever caught in there is someone walking, and it doesn't matter what. It doesn't matter what if it's paranormal or not. We can't take away what we've heard. That's as simple as it gets. It may be human because we'll never know the truth behind it because it's never going to be given. But it could be generally someone walking through there or a couple of people to get to their tunnel or coming out of that tunnel. As I said.
Or something walking through there, mate. This is military we're talking about.
Exactly. It could just be a military. Be fair, if you walk down the stairs and you saw military walking up at you, what are you doing here? Don't worry about it. Shut up. Go back. Yeah, all right, boss. See you later. Right. So, but wouldn't they have to vet all of your team and guests if the bunker is still active to make sure you're not natural? But you don't know about it, Lee. No one knows about what is below this area.
I'll tell you what, it's going to be damn freaky next time we go there now, isn't it?
Yeah, because we're all going to be looking for another hole in the wall, aren't we? That's what it is. That's where it is. But that's where the noise is. That's where you know what we're listening for. Did anyone just hear that? Did anyone just hear a bark?
Yes, I heard that. What was that?
What?
I heard the bark.
I didn't hear
a bark, but it was like like a fox call.
Yeah. Ah! Oh, I didn't hear that.
What did you hear? It was like a scream.
No. It was echoey what I heard.
Yeah, there was something there. So it was about 1 minute 23 of the live feed. It would be before that, wouldn't it? Yeah, heard it. Yeah, heard it. People are saying they heard it. Lee heard it. Sandra heard it. Whatever it was a scream. Or to me, it sounded like a fox call. But Simon lives on a main road, so very rarely it would be a fox this time of night because it's still traffic about.
Not. Yeah, no, not good.
It definitely never come from my end. And I don't
I heard it from the computer.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard it through the computer. I didn't hear it live coming through the door or anything like that.
No.
Yeah, fox scream. That's what it sounded like to me. But we would have heard that. It definitely come from mine. It didn't come from mine. Didn't come from yours, Paul. Simon, well, if there's a fox scream, it's only been run over. Let's just say that at the front. But Simon would have heard it. We would have heard it.
I didn't hear anything.
How weird is that? How weird is that? Well, that just says we're on some form of right narrative there, doesn't it? I suppose we better end that narrative because that means things are now listening, aren't they? The algorithm could have come from mine, but I'm not live.
And that would be strange, Matt.
Yeah. But no, that, you know, that's what it is. But no, that was, I had this conversation today and I was so intrigued.
Mate, I bet it was great.
All the times, you know, it's like, oh, come on and just tell me this. You know, I would have had him on the show, you know, but he was adamant. He said, I've been there, I've seen it. You know, I've got nothing to, it goes down 5 floors lower.
Can't we set up like one of them sort of crime watch scenes where he's shadowed out and we can disguise his voice and we can still have him on then?
But, you know, it was very, I say, he's seen things in Downing Street that, you know, he said, like, I could tell you loads of things. He said, but it just baffle your mind.
Oh, mate.
And
well,
you know, the one question
that baffles your mind, doesn't it? One of these questions that baffles your mind.
Yeah, exactly that. But then, you know, when everything's done and gone, and I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, why didn't I just ask him the most common question that everyone should have? I want to know, has an alien or extraterrestrial ever been in Downing Street? Why didn't I ask that question? Why didn't I ask that poxy question?
Yeah, why didn't you?
I don't know. Because I think I don't know. I can potentially ask contact, but I don't sort of want to push it because just in case
people will get back in touch.
You know what
just I mean? Say, has there ever been alien in Downing Street?
Yeah. I'll be carted off. But no, it was a really interesting conversation, and you know, it was literally only on the topic of ghost hunting. Like, he asked me, sort of, you know, what did I do? I said I was schooling, and he said, yeah, and he's a paranormal investigator. He went, what does that mean? He went, ghost hunting. I said, like, and he said, what do you do? He said, I like, you know, he goes, you've been in the local area. I said, yeah, Kelvin. He went, oh, tell you some stories. So tell me some stories then. And that was it. He was off on one. He said, yeah. He said, what you see is only sort of a.
Did he believe in those?
He never answered it, to be fair, Si. Never answered it.
Interesting.
More about the locations you've been to rather than the spirits you'd seen there. Typical military man, isn't it?
Yeah. It was,
don't let nothing go, mate.
You will find, you do find on those the military men have actually seen a lot more paranormal.
A lot more than they will let on.
Yeah,
but
a lot of paranormal.
It's the poker face when they're that high up, mate.
Yeah. But
they can tell you black is white and believe it with their face. Yeah.
You know, you got to take Grandad for your key example. He would never talk about that forest in the German.
And I think I'm actually getting to the bottom of that.
Whatever.
Because who was it? Was it one of the German military leaders was held in captivity there? But he delved in witchcraft and he delved in devil worship, and he was held where Grandad was stationed. Seriously, in Germany.
So. But that's your stereotypical, isn't it? They don't believe, but they've always got something to tell you.
Yeah.
Which I find very interesting. Very, very interesting. Right, guys, we have come towards the end of the show. Thank you ever so much for joining us tonight. I hope you have enjoyed the conversation as much as we've had. I know we've touched on a couple of little things throughout the night. I want to say a massive thank you to Simon and Paul for joining me tonight. Really appreciate it.
No problem.
No problem, mate.
We will be back next week. We will be on the journey next week. We'll be on the conspiracy side of things next week, and we can delve deeper into things that we can't really delve on. Well, we can say we can't delve on it. We just keep it a little bit light here. Simon, it's entirely up to you. If you want to join us next week, you're more than welcome, but it will be conspiracy night. and then we can go from there. So hopefully you can join us all next week. Please take care, stay safe, and everything's going on my phone now. It's vibrating, so I've probably got more messages coming in from Lee. So yeah, take care, everybody. Thank you for joining us, and we'll all be back next week on the Journey page. Take care, stay safe, and thank you for listening.
Bye-bye. See you later.
Thank
That's
you,
an alarm
everybody. Huh?
No, there's an alarm going off over the road.
There you go. Good night, Heidi. Thank you for everybody that has joined us over on YouTube, Facebook, the Journey page, everything. Thank you ever very much for joining us tonight. Take care, stay safe, and we will all see you again next week.
Bye-bye.